Fire up Friday Hot Topics with Whoopi, Abby Huntsman, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, Meghan McCain, and Anna Navarro. Now, let's get things started.
Okay, so we're a little tired of politics, but we still are going to talk about it because Senator Klobuchar is coming on today. Yeah. She's a presidential candidate. We've already had, we had Beto, Biden, Kamala Harris, Gillibrand, Buttigieg, Booker and Ryan, and somebody whose name I can't read.
Sanders. We had Sanders.
Oh, Sanders, and somebody with Castro.
We had Inslee.
They've all been here.
Didn't we? Yeah. Some of them are so memorable, aren't they?
Yeah.
We've got about 10 more to go, though.
Huh? We have how many
more?
more?
10 more to go.
10 more?
Yeah, it's a lot.
At least.
But who's counting? 10 more, please.
We've had
so far.
So far, yes.
We had de Blasio before he announced.
Right, before you guys attacked him yesterday.
Yes.
Oh, I loved it.
We
it was
did
so
not.
good.
No, but...
He's the only candidate running that has a net negative approval rating. I mean, I'm not the only person that doesn't like de Blasio.
Yeah.
I'm
not
even
from New York, and I don't like de Blasio. He gets a tough rap. Actually, Elizabeth Warren has been here, and she's coming back.
Yes, she's coming back also.
Yeah.
It's because, you know, though, at some point, they got to get serious about it. It really, running for president shouldn't be about getting a cable gig or selling a book or ending up in Dancing with the Stars. It is. No, you guys laugh. Rick Perry did end up in Dancing with the Stars.
Who did?
Rick Perry. Don't you remember?
Oh,
he
did.
Yes. You guys think I'm making this up?
Yes.
Did.
So, you know, his speed, I think.
It's serious. It's a serious thing. And right now, you know, I want a Democrat that can beat Donald Trump, and it's beginning to look like a clown car.
Come on.
I know. Well, we all want that at this table.
You don't want Donald Trump.
I want to go into a time zone UFO parallel universe where Paul Ryan can be president. That's what I want. I'm still a conservative. I don't love all
Honey,
these
that ship
liberals.
has sailed.
I can dream. I can fantasize.
even-
Okay?
No, there's no way. All right, but anyway, instead of that, which we'll talk about later, we want to start with a video that struck all of us this morning. Christian Tinsley, is that her name, Christina? Yeah. Is a California mom who thought her daughter's school wasn't doing enough to stop her child from getting bullied. So she went into the classroom to take matters into her own hands. Watch.
She's a girl, y'all are boys, okay? If y'all bully my daughter, if you look at her the wrong way, if you breathe the wrong way, send your mom to me. Sisters, aunts, anybody over 18, I'll up. Do you understand me? Leave my daughter alone, and I'm not going to say it again.
Now, I could have used this woman once. When I was a kid, I was bullied because I wore Bermuda shorts. And in Brooklyn, in a tough neighborhood. I really was, believe it or not. They could not tolerate my shorts. And I would like to have had that woman sticking up for me. How about you guys?
I think I want that woman to run for president against Trump.
Right? Well, he's the biggest bully in the country. Yeah.
I'm not above this. No, I'm not above this. You know, I have had situations where my children have been bullied. I remember when my son was being bullied in 2nd grade, and I thought that the proper route was, of course, to notify the school, because the schools always have this no tolerance policy, and it didn't end there. And then I called the parents, and the parents, I felt at this time, just weren't just accepting of the fact that their child was a bully. And my son had to sort of take it into his own hands and stop the behavior. And I was lucky because my son is a pretty big kid, and he was able to stop the bully in his tracks.
Yeah.
My daughter, on the other hand, got bullied. I sort of tried to go through the same method. She took it into her own hands and went upstairs and got her big brother. And her big brother went downstairs and handled it for her, and then it stopped.
Well, that's nice
But
if you have a big brother.
Yeah,
I was
but
an only
a lot of kids
child.
don't. And so a lot of, you know, I don't know what we need to do about this epidemic.
How about a
but
lawsuit
something's
against the
happening.
parents? I was thinking this morning,
Yeah.
I would have sent a lawsuit to on some legal stationery to scare them first, to the school and the parents.
Yeah.
I bet that would have stopped it. What do you say? You're a lawyer.
Intentional infliction of emotional distress.
And sexual harassment. The kid was being sexually harassed by these teenagers on her way to school.
But lawsuits take a long time. What just happened, what
No,
we
you're trying
saw,
to scare them a little.
doesn't take that long.
Yeah.
This doesn't take that long.
But
I know.
But by the way,
but they
she's
kicked her
been
out of
banned
school,
from the
yeah.
middle school. She's been banned from the middle school. But guess
Also, it
what?
didn't
They
stop
stopped bullying her
it.
kid.
It didn't stop it
said
right
they
away.
It didn't stop right away, but they ain't bullying her kid anymore.
No.
No.
Well, look, bullying is
that.
something that we really need to take seriously. We have seen kids that end up committing suicide,
Yes,
hurting themselves.
yeah.
It's a horrible,
Yes.
horrible epidemic going on in this country. Frankly, teachers and schools need to do more so that it doesn't fall to the parents
Right.
to show up and, make threats
A
like
lot of
this.
times, Anna, the teachers and the schools, I was a teacher. I don't remember hearing from the kids. 'Cause I never told anybody that they were bullying me.
Do you think it's gotten worse, though, than when you were a teacher?
I think
don't know.
social media has made it exponentially
maybe.
worse for
Yes.
people, and I think children are on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter earlier and earlier, and I
The
think
mother said that. They were
Yeah.
bullying her on social media as well.
it's horrible. It's really, I mean, I have young nieces, and I just think it's a cancer in our society. I don't pretend to understand how to fix all the problems. I will say there's a happy story to put an ad on this. In the Central Park School for Children in Durham, North Carolina, they had LGBT students who were being bullied, and they brought in 2 drag queens named Vivica Cox and Stormy Day for the school's Pride and Liberation event, and the idea came from the teachers. So I think there are ways for
handle it.
teachers to have, different kinds of ideas to make, especially young, not just bullying happens to everyone, but I think we live in a society where if you're different or you're a little outside the box or you think differently or you act differently, like I was not the cheerleader in high school. I was the same. I was like me, except as a little kid, like yelling and being like whatever. Even in school, I was like, but why do I need to learn algebra? I like politics. So I think that, sometimes as you get older, you understand that being different can be special and can be helpful, but when you're young, you just
It doesn't work when you're a kid.
No,
Yeah.
I was
it
bullied
doesn't.
by one particular girl on my block. I mean, she was always after me. And there was a boy who was always egging her on to start to hit me and fight with me.
Really?
Yeah, so one day I had it up to here. And I took her, let me see your fingers.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure
I want to play this game.
They had gotten to me. I was completely berserk at this point. I took her fingers and I bent them
Oh,
like
hell
this.
no, I'm not giving you my fingers.
I bent them back until she was on her knees begging me to stop. I should have done this to Bill O'Reilly when he was here. And she's begged me to stop, and she never bothered
And
me
it
again.
stopped.
So my point is, you've got to stand up for yourself. A lot of
That's-
times these people
Well, tell
need
you
to...
what,
My son stood
Joy
up for
Behar
himself.
is sitting on TV at a successful show. What's the bully doing?
I don't know what she's doing.
Exactly.
I don't
But
know.
one thing Megan mentioned during our Hot Topics meeting, where does the
where does it
behavior start? And I think it starts at home.
Of course.
I think that these parents may see the children, maybe the children are seeing this kind of behavior at home, or maybe the parents are seeing their children act out and they're not nipping it in
Maybe
the bud
one of the
there.
parents is a bully, and they're
Exactly. So the
imitating the
children may be
behavior.
seeing it.
That's probably more likely.
And I think it does start in the home, though.
But listen,
somehow.
it's social media, it's what they watch on TV, it's peer pressure, it's lack of supervision, it's acting
Yeah.
up, wanting attention. I mean, it's so many different things. It's part
You
of the
don't think
reason.
it's just at home?
I think it's more than that. I think,
know,
I
kids-
think
I do
some
too.
people get it from home. I think some people get it from external factors.
We
Kid,
live
don't-
in
you know,
a-
my
in a
dog
culture-
has
And I think some
reaction.
kids are just born
But we
mean.
also live in a culture where bullying isn't necessarily something that won't get you ahead. Like, I'm sorry, but like our president's a big bully, and like
Yeah.
he's president. So,
Yeah.
what is the sort of like external validation to not be a bully?
You have to
It
treat your
I mean, it
children.
hasn't stopped
Your
him.
children need to be treated with kid gloves. I'm sorry. This business of being strict and disciplining and all that. Just love your children.
I agree.
Make them feel safe. I mean, my doggy. I was about to tell about Bernie. He's been acting out lately. He has separation issues. Every time we go out, we come back and he's pooped in the living room.
Really?
Yes.
You don't
So
have
I've
that problem with
I've been
chickens.
kissing him and hugging him, hoping that will stop it. But it hadn't.
I only hit her on the cactus. I don't know.
When we come back, find out why a woman says she's mad as hell about being called as about being skinny shamed. This is a new one, yeah. And she's not going to take it anymore. That's all. We'll be right back. That happens to me.
Monday on The View, Whoopi opens up about the illness that almost took her life and the doctors that helped save it.
Pneumonia is no joke. It just is no joke. Watch our show. We might be able to help.
A must-see View, Monday. Senator Amy Klobuchar gives her political view of how she's going to stand out in a crowded pack of 23 Democratic presidential candidates.
So, welcome back. You know, most people think that calling someone skinny is a compliment. How many of you think so? Clap. Right? Okay. Does anyone think it's an insult? Clap if you think it's an insult. One man.
Well, it's a woman.
A man.
And I don't love it. I don't love it.
To say you're
No,
skinny?
I don't love it.
Yeah, but most people think it's not a
Well, me and
compliment.
you, ma'am. There you go.
But one woman posted on Reddit because she was so sick of being called slim and, and toothpick by a female coworker that she gave the woman a nickname too, Chunky. So one calls the other one slim, the other one says, oh yeah, well, chunky. So her coworkers turned on her saying slim is a compliment, like I just said. Chunky is not. Now, what say if the panel on this? You may tell them what I said to you this morning.
Joy likes to come in and say, good morning, skinny bitch, to me.
And you're never
As a
insulted.
term of endearment.
As a term
I
of
have never
endearment.
called someone a skinny bitch where they have been insulted. They always say thank you.
So how come you never call
Yeah.
me that?
Yeah, you never called me that either. Anna and I are not called skinny bitch.
I
We
would
walk in the
literally-
doors of
I would
HBCU.
force me to go there.
I'm not a skinny bitch. I'm fine.
To call me toothpick.
Now, in Joy's defense, she didn't used to call me skinny bitch, but what most viewers have been noticing that I've lost weight. I got diverticulitis, stress diverticulitis, so I've lost 20 pounds because I'm stressed out, right? So there are all these things that I can't
You
eat.
see, this is the part where the
so now she
second
calls
part of
me
that
skinny bitch.
Yeah, because I get stressed out and I eat a chocolate cake.
Yeah, I get stressed out and I get diverticulitis, so then I can't eat as much.
In the very beginning, when we first started doing this show about a year ago and telling the story, I said she wanted to lose weight, Sunny. So I said, so give up drinking. And she said, with this show?
I did.
People think this is not stressful to do, but it is, apparently.
It is stressful. But I don't know. I think, Chunky shouldn't have called her skinny. And slim. Because she's 5'9" and weighs 115 pounds. So
That's a model.
No, she
Are you
obviously
kidding?
must
That's
feel
Giselle Bundchen.
maybe she's got an eating disorder. She's only been working at the job for 8 days, and so Chunky may be bullying her a little bit.
Well, when she called her Chunky back, she started crying.
And
Chunky did.
Slim told Chunky to stop it, and Chunky didn't stop it.
Well, this story makes me sad for a lot of different reasons. Number one, I wish we would just stop reducing women to our bodies in general.
So boring.
I'm so sick of it on every level.
Right.
And I don't know, people are always very, Anna, you and I nobody's calling me skinny bitch, and it has never stopped me from getting a job or a man that I wanted ever, and so I love the body positivity phase we are at culturally. I actually think it's one of the good parts of being in 2019, and I think when you see women like Lizzo and you see so many amazing plus size models like Ashley Graham, there really is a different image for women out there than there was when I was growing up, and I think especially when it comes to buying bathing suits, sorry.
No.
But I just wish we could extradite this. I don't think I ever say anything to a woman about her body in general because I don't know her journey and she doesn't know mine, and I just want to leave it at that.
So
Having said that,
Chunky
though,
should embrace it then.
It's not going to.
Yeah.
Having said that, have you ever tried on a bathing suit in one of those dressing rooms?
Yeah. I'm really comfortable with my body. I'm 34 years old. I'm just happy I'm healthy. My husband loves me, and I've got a great job. I don't have body issues. It's miraculous working in media. I don't. Sorry,
That
guys.
you don't
It didn't
want.
work on me.
That you don't
The
want.
fat shaming didn't work on me. It just didn't. Sorry, guys.
But the best thing that has happened,
I get called
though,
Miss Piggy all the time. It doesn't bother me. I don't care. I don't care.
I think the best thing that has happened is internet shopping. You can now try on
that's
jeans,
right.
you can try on everything in your
even
house
bathing
and then
suits, everything.
Yeah, you can buy bathing suits
online. Yeah.
and not experience it.
I don't know. I'm from a different generation. We were body shamed constantly.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah.
It is.
I hate
It's
it,
true.
but what am I going to do? Kill myself?
No.
Over what? Va-va-voom.
Exactly.
At this age, I don't give a damn anymore. What? All right. We'll be right back.
Up next, does Democratic presidential candidate Senator Amy Klobuchar think anyone can catch up to Joe Biden? Does she think the rise in restrictive new abortion laws are a war against women? She's live on The View next.
Senator Amy Klobuchar is now one of 24 count them, Democratic candidates running for president. And while I'm thrilled at how many people want to take Trump's job away, what's she going to do to stand out from the pack? Let's find out. Please welcome Senator Amy Klobuchar. How are you?
I'm very good.
You look
I love
nice.
the audience.
Yes, yes.
Great group.
So, Senator, we've been talking all week about the Alabama abortion ban that was signed into law on Wednesday. There seems to be a big push all of a sudden in many parts of the country to get their strict abortion laws on the books. How concerned are you about the possibility of overthrowing Roe v. Wade?
Extremely concerned. What these guys are doing is unbelievable. I say guys because, for instance, the vote in Alabama in the state Senate, it was all men that voted for this. What they're doing...
But there were 2 women involved. I saw it online today.
Okay, they're taking us backwards, right? They basically are criminalizing doctors when they do this. And anyone that's surprised about this should look at what Donald Trump said during the campaign. When he was running back for president, he actually said that women should be punished in a town hall meeting. And then he said doctors should face consequences, criminal consequences. So I want to be clear that this was a movement that he started, and that's why this 2020 election is so important, because you look at the assault on women's health. It is everything from taking away the right to choose, to defunding Planned Parenthood, to taking away the Affordable Care Act, which would mean you could be thrown off your insurance for a pre-existing condition.
Well, if a child,
so this is a part of an entire
if a child is raped, an 11-year-old child is raped, a doctor could go to jail for 99 years, which is longer than the rapist will get. Just let that sink in for a second. That's what we're talking about.
Because there's no exceptions for rape or incest in that Alabama
Even
bill.
Pat Robertson said they went too far with that.
Yeah. And what's really interesting about this, whether you're pro-life, pro-choice, we actually saw a decrease in abortions over the last, say, 10 years during the Obama time period. And that's good. Everyone would agree on that. Why? Because we had contraceptions more available, because we funded Planned Parenthood. And so the irony of what they're doing and the tragedy of what they're doing is while they're taking away the women's right to choose, they're also trying to take away their right to get contraception.
Could I just ask a follow-up question on this? For me, I hear what you're saying, but I also know that Democrats look like they've gone very extreme on this issue, and I think it's gone from the party of safe, legal, and rare to having a conversation about late-term abortion up until birth with the Ralph Northam controversy. Are you for what he said, or late-term abortion, or the moments that he was talking about where you would keep a woman comfortable after she was giving birth in case she wanted to abort her third-term child?
I don't know all his comments, but what I do know is that I am for a woman having the right to make a choice about her own body.
But the conversation
but
you're for late-term abortion.
Yeah.
Third-term abortion.
But here's the deal, that's not what we're talking about
here. That is so rare. And it's only when the child is going to be in trouble. But
this is a cultural conversation that's happening everywhere, and you're running for president.
Because it's based on a lie.
But right now, let's be honest, the real cultural conversation is what they're doing in Alabama and Georgia and in Missouri. They're actually taking away a woman's right to decide
about third term as well.
But it's based on a lie. It's not true.
It's not based on a lie.
Yes, it is.
I don't think it should be that hard to say I'm not for late-term abortion in the third term. I don't think it should be that controversial.
It's never done because the woman wants to abort the baby. It's done for health reasons.
I think that argument has been debunked, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I think if anything...
It has not. It has not.
I think there's a problem, though, for me, trying to fit everything into this label of either pro-choice or pro-life. Like I said the other day, I think it's a lot more nuanced because, for example, is taking the Plan B thing, something that is against life, is having an exemption for an 11-year-old girl who is raped and gets pregnant, being, not being pro-life. Well, I mean, it's not, to me, it's not as black and white, and I think we need to be less...
abortion's pretty black and white. Do you believe in third-term abortion or not?
Well, listen, though, what if you find out? I was reading a case yesterday. I was reading about a woman who was raped when she was 17 years old. It's in HuffPost if you want to read it. And she didn't find out she was pregnant until she was 8 months pregnant. And there's people who don't find out. There's women who don't find out. And then she found out she was carrying a baby with hydrocephalia, who was born and then spent a year in great pain and died after the year. It's not my choice to make.
50% of the population is pro-life.
But that's not my
50% is
choice to
pro-choice.
make.
Okay,
for her.
Honestly, I'm more
just
interested
to be very clear, 70, thank you.
You're welcome.
72% of the population don't think we could overturn Roe v. Wade. They don't want to do that. And that includes, but that includes people that might make a personal decision not to have an abortion. That's their personal decision. But they don't think that their personal views should influence other people's views.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about here. And I think that they have taken this so far that any discussion about the nuances and things, that's not where we are right now.
Right.
These guys are setting this up, using women as political pawns to set this up for a case to go to the Supreme Court. And it makes it more important for anyone listening out there that cares about families' rights to make their own decisions.
Right.
This 2020 election couldn't be more important.
Let me shift gears and let me ask you this. This week, both Elizabeth Warren and Kamala Harris rejected offers to do town halls on Fox News, and you just did one last week.
In Milwaukee.
Yeah, and my understanding is you got twice the number of viewers as you got when you did a town hall on CNN. Are your rivals missing the boat here by just not agreeing to go on Fox News?
I think that they can make their own decisions. Everyone should make their own decisions. For me, I think you have to reach everyone. And that includes people that agree with you, people that don't agree with you. You go not just where it's comfortable, where it's uncomfortable. When I have been running in Minnesota, I go to every county every year. I've done that for the past decade. It's 87 of them. Yeah. And I go to meet with people that have been Republicans for a long time. I think we need that spirit in the White House right now. You need someone that will represent not just the people that don't vote for you, but the people that vote for you. You have to have someone that's willing to unite the country when a president wakes up every morning and tweets about how to divide us.
Some people in the, I agree with you. And I hope that's what we get to. I'm good friends with Norm Coleman, who was the Republican senator from Minnesota, and he said he loved serving with you and he loved working with you. But there's a lot of Democrats today who don't want to see bipartisanship, who, we are very entrenched in our own little corners. We saw Alejandro Ocasio-Cortez say earlier this week, a middle-of-the-road approach is not going to cut it. So, and you're known for working across the aisle and being a pragmatist. How do you get through the primaries?
Well, I am a proven progressive. I have gotten things done. I passed 34 bills where I was the lead Democrat when Donald Trump was president, okay? Wow. So to me, being a proven progressive means you have to make progress. It is not just about giving speeches and sounding cool. It is about whether you can actually get things done. And so that means standing your ground, but it's also about looking for common ground. I loved working with Megan's dad, and we miss him every single day. And a lot of that was about finding where we could work together. He wanted to do something to bring down prescription drugs, and I said the cost of them, right? And I said, good, that's something I want to do. Let's work together on that. He cared about working with our allies around the world, and one of the last trips I took with him was to Ukraine, where we stood with widows of soldiers that have been killed by Russian snipers. We did that because he wanted to make the case after Donald Trump got elected that you stand with your allies. So if you can find partners to work with, things like that, I think it's worth it.
Where are they?
They are far and few between right now. But you have to have the attitude.
Not any John McCain left in the Senate.
But you have to have the attitude that you want to get things done. That is the kind of people we elected. That is how we took back the House of Representatives in Washington and made it the people's house, right? We did it with women, we did it with people of color, and we did it with candidates that wanted to get things done.
We have to take a break. We're keeping you. We'll be right back with more from Senator Amy Klobuchar.
Klobuchar, Senator, thank you so much for being on the show today. I have to ask you the elephant in the room question. You have faced accusations of staff mistreatment that you've dismissed as sexist, but you do have the highest staff turnover rate in the Senate. Between 2001 and 2016, you had the highest staff turnover rate, so 15 years is kind of a long time. You acknowledge that you have high standards and you can, quote, sometimes be too tough on employees, but you haven't apologized for anything. We hit Trump a lot on this show for his high turnover rate in the White House. I believe that loyalty is extremely important with principals. My father's chief of staff was with him for 33 years. 2 of his staffers, who I'm very close to, were present when he died. In this White House that's creating such chaos with this, don't you think this is a valid concern for voters?
I am so proud of our staff. I wouldn't be up here. I wouldn't have passed those 34 bills in just the last 2 years without incredible staff. And my chief of staff actually has been with me for years and years. My state director has been with me for 5 years. I think we had 70 former employees who signed a letter talking about the good experience that we had in our office. So, you know, I don't know who some of these people are, but what I do know is that you can always do better. But my whole focus is having high standards for myself, high standards for my staff, and high standards for this country. And we have heard a lot of hits on candidates. And my view is that a number of the women have had tough jobs. We have managed major organizations, whether it's myself being a prosecutor, whether it is Kamala Harris, or whether it is Elizabeth Warren. And you can't be likable in every moment when you have those jobs. Yeah. And I don't think the women would even be on the stage being able to run for president if we hadn't had tough jobs. And so you have to look at it
Do you think being a woman, it's a harder time for people to staff you?
I didn't hear that.
Being a woman, is it just harder to have people staff you?
I don't know. That's views of other people. I think one of the things that I have seen here is that oftentimes when you're a woman candidate, people underestimate you. They think, oh, maybe you're not going to do the job, or they put you into a box of what they think you're going to be. And I think every woman in this audience right now and out there watching knows what it's like to be underestimated. And you know what I think? Or criticized unfairly. And if you dwell on that, or the criticism, you never get ahead. And if I believed this, I would never have been able to pass one of the first laws in the country guaranteeing new moms and their babies a 48-hour hospital stay, because people thought it couldn't be done. Or I would have never been the first woman DA of the biggest county in my state. Or I would never have been the first woman elected to the U.S. Senate. When I was running against a congressman, I had no money, and at some point it was so hard for me to raise money, I called everyone I knew in my life and set an all-time Senate record.
You raised money from ex-boyfriends.
I raised $17,000 from ex-boyfriends, okay? It was a record. And so my point of that story is you get underestimated and you get criticized, but you have to rise above it. And that is what I am doing in this race for president, because a lot of people didn't think a peanut farmer from Georgia could ever win. A lot of people didn't think a governor from Arkansas could ever win. And certainly a lot of people didn't think a guy named Barack Obama could be president of the United States. And they did it. So
Can you really eat a salad with a comb, though? Can you really do that?
No, you'll have to try it.
I got to try it. Actually, I did try it and posted about it, and it all depends on the comb.
Okay.
It's a pick comb you can do wonders with, and I told her I think she should sell combs as swag. Klobuchar 2020.
Right, okay.
And I want to ask you about a serious issue, though, and we saw it play out in the Kavanaugh hearings, and it's the role of alcoholism in your life. You've been very open about your father's struggles. You've made fighting addiction, fighting opioid abuse, which is an epidemic, one of the big points of your career. How has what you went through being young with your dad affected you as a woman, as an adult, and as a legislator?
Well, I think it's made me a better public servant. A lot of people think they're sort of born into all this, and I wasn't. You know, I grew up a middle-class family. My dad struggled with alcoholism his whole life. He had 2 DWIs when I was in middle school, and then by the time, right before I got married, he had a 3rd DWI. And that was at a time where the laws had changed, and he had to pick between jail and treatment, and he picked treatment. And in his words, because of his family and the help he got, he was pursued by grace. And I believe that every family in America has that same right to be pursued by grace. I don't care if you have a mental illness, which 1 in 5 Americans have, or if you've got some kind of addiction, whether it's alcohol or meth, which hits communities of color really hard, or whether it's opioids. I think you should have that chance to have that kind of treatment. So that's why one of my leading policy ideas is to take that money that we're going to be getting in from these big opioid lawsuits and putting some tax on those pharmaceutical companies, which, by the way, caused this addiction, and then putting it into help for people. Because people all over the country say, where do I go for help? And I just think, given my story, I'll be in a unique position as president, giving someone who has won rural areas over and over again, Trump counties over and over again, Michelle Bachmann's district. I have been able to reach out to people and say, look, we may not, I won that district. We may not be able to agree on everything, but I know we can agree that you got to be there for people when they've got this kind of problem.
I think we all agree with you on that. Senator Klobuchar is staying here. More with Senator Klobuchar when we come right back.
Thanks, Megan.
So there's a big election coming.
Isn't that exciting?
It is raining candidates here on The View.
And the candidates are lining up.
First interview he's given since he announced. Please welcome former Vice President Joe Biden.
They all voice different views.
Do you think this country is ready for a gay president?
Well, there's only one way to find out.
But they all have one thing in common. They come here to make news.
I'm going to run for president of the United States.
I love that you make it official right here on The View.
This is the best place to do it.
In this epic year ahead.
Anybody who wants to make it to the next level in politics has to come on this show.
Because this is the place to be heard.
People come here because they know folks are watching.
On ABC.
We're back with Senator Amy Klobuchar. So you serve on the Senate Judiciary Committee. In recent weeks, we've seen constant stonewalling from the administration, refusing Congress document requests and subpoenas. Let me count the ways for a second. Ignoring subpoenas.
We'll run out of time
No,
with the show.
I'm going to do it fast. Ignoring subpoenas, Mnuchin, the Treasury Department, Trump Jr., and he was told, Trump Jr., ignore it by Senator Lindsey Graham. I've never heard of such a thing in this country. Let's see, Barr cracking jokes about getting handcuffed by Pelosi. I mean, what is that? And then today we're hearing that Michael Flynn admitted that Trump's lawyers tried to obstruct the Mueller investigation. Okay, what are the Democrats going to do? I realize that you have limited power because we only have the House, but you've got to do something. This country is becoming a third world country.
Right.
Where are the laws?
Right. I think it was Thomas Paine who once said, in the United States of America, the king is not the law. The law is king.
Right.
And these guys seem to have forgotten that. They think they can do whatever they want. So the answer is to hold them accountable, continue to push these subpoenas, to go to court, to get the information. Why? Yeah, you want to get the truth, but you also want to get to the bottom of what happened when a foreign country invaded our election. They didn't do it with tanks or missiles, but they invaded our democracy, right? So we are not going to get that whole story until we get Director Mueller to testify.
Well,
the second thing is, well, first of all, at some point he becomes a private citizen, I guess.
Then he can
get him in that way. But we just keep pushing that, and the House, you're right, is in the unique position to be able to do it. But the second thing I would say is the real way we get these guys is by winning in 2020, right? And we set the stage. We set the stage in 2018 with an optimistic economic agenda for this country. And so my view is you have to do two things at once. You pursue the truth, because I think at the very minimum, Americans expect to have a president that tells the truth, obeys the law, and tries to keep the peace. With what you saw this president do with Iran this week, I don't think that's where the path they're on.
Completely off the table in your mind?
No, it's not off the table at all, and it's something the House is going to have to decide, and they're going to have to keep looking at the evidence.
What's the downside to impeaching him?
Well, I think if you would ask Speaker Pelosi, I think what she would say is, what would happen in the Senate? Because of the fact that the Republicans control the Senate and Mitch McConnell has announced case closed. But they're going to make that decision. The bigger thing for me right now is they are shutting down our ability to protect your right to vote in the next election. Why? They do it with voter suppression. We know that. One of the courts said with surgical precision. And then number two, they won't even pass the bipartisan bill that I have, the Secure Elections Act, that would say if something goes wrong, we better have backup paper ballots. How can you, and why do I know this?
We just saw it in Florida in this week that 2 counties were breached.
Right. So this was a bill that I have with Senator Langford. We were going to have a hearing. We had a hearing. We were going to go to the floor with it. The White House actually made calls to Republican senators, this is documented, to shut it down. That's what they did.
People need to hear
that
all
happened.
This. You have to know what's going on. It's
that
outrageous.
is happening right now. And so that's why we need people to advocate at the least for fairness at the election box. So that we're doing everything to protect it.
But isn't an impeachment process a way to expose all of this on a larger basis, on television, on social media?
And that is something that they've been talking about.
Yeah.
But I think the most important point is to realize what these guys are doing, that they're trying to stop the vote. They're trying to mess around with your civil rights to vote, your civil right to decide what to do with your health care down the line. And we're going to have to make that case to the voters. And by the way, the reason I think I'm a unique person to do this is not only because I have won in the Midwest, I'm from the heartland, and I have repeatedly won Trump districts, but also because I'm willing to tell the truth, but keep on an economic message. But wait, use humor. When he called me Snow Woman, you know what I said?
Right.
I said, I'd like to see how your hair would fare in a blizzard,
Yes.
Mr. Umbrella.
Good luck to you, Senator. We wish you a lot of luck, and thanks for coming here. Thanks to Senator Amy Klobuchar. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.